speech at the end saying it's an untenable situation, and thought everybody would say, oh gosh, you're quite right, let's fix it. But it was a lot slower than I said, 30 years to get to the point we're now, which is now the sort of point I would have to hope to happen of the next day after I'd given this talk. So it's been slow, but it's definitely moving hugely in the right direction, but we've still got a hell of a long way to go, because even if you look at the UNEP report, it's always post-agricultural. Nobody's looking at the fate of the farmers, nobody's looking at the devastation that cotton agriculture is doing on the planet, and only 1% of world cotton is still organic. So I regard that as a personal failure, because I was hoping that we'd be able to drive it faster. But, you know, we can get there if, you know, if we push it now, but we have to, because otherwise there's going to be no world left.
So I think is that in terms of the movement, is you're right, is that it's super slow, but from your perspective, you took action immediately, didn't you? Is that you've cut off that supply chain that you found out about, which was an incredibly brave move. I think for many people, you've built a business, you're employing individuals, but from your perspective, it was just, I can't do this anymore.
Well, it kind of went in bits, you know, like the denim license was supposed to give 10% of the turnover to Pesticide Action Network UK, an incredible organisation who were doing research, organic projects in Senegal, in Africa, and responsible for all the research that people like Greenpeace, everybody use on neonicotinoids. They're responsible for that, and also they stuff on herbicides, things like Roundup. You know, people wouldn't listen to start, you know, so you lose the denim license because he's not making the contribution. You go around the trade fairs and they try to bar the doors. People you've been behind hundreds of thousands to meet have got before. I say, I want organic cotton. They say, why should we do the organic cotton since you're the only one asking for it? It's just like, this was not the reaction I anticipated. I mean, my advice to anybody in the fashion business who wants to, you know, become sustainable, don't do what I did, because it was, okay, noble but idiotic, because, you know, you lose your distribution. It would be much cleverer to phase in, you know, phase out the non-sustainable and phase in the sustainable, and keep on selling to your 700 top shops worldwide. And I think I could probably have made a bigger difference. But it's a real moral dilemma. What are you going to do? Carry on making a living at the, you know, at the cost of environmental destruction and human suffering? I mean, it's a really hard position to take, to know that every, you know, every meter of conventional cotton that you're buying and you're selling and, you know, you're promoting and putting in lovely fashion, you know, shots and shows of everybody is actually really destructive of the planet. You know, I think I was probably too high-minded about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, you know, you could have phased it out, but I think is that every industry needs a pioneer. They need someone to look up to and to follow, and I think that you have been that person in terms of sustainability. Is that yesterday we had a designer called Mother of Pearl, who's also here at London Fashion Week Festival, who has really taken the time to create a sustainable collection. And, you know, without having pioneers like you, putting it on the radar, talking about the challenges, is that we wouldn't have that coming through, and they wouldn't have someone to look to, and they wouldn't have lessons to learn from. In the same way that we have so many young designers that are coming through that are really focusing on that sustainable agenda. So I think Fast Track to today is that I do feel that there's a moment of change, and I think is that it's fantastic that you're playing a part of that. So tell us about, you've had a collection at Fashion Week today, which has been, which is going to be seeing later, is with a lot of bringing back some of those messages as a reflection on that and on the collection. So tell us about that collection and what that means to you.
Well, I'm not only into kind of sustainable, like organic cotton, sustainable materials, but preservation of traditional skills. And we're actually making in Italy because they make so beautifully, and their entire industry is threatened by outsourcing, because you can't underestimate how brilliantly the Chinese make clothes. They may be making them guns at their heads, but they're making them perfectly. So we've set up, well, we've actually Brexited already, because when we set up, well, it was 2 years ago, I thought, well, this idiotic thing may actually happen. So let's just cover ourselves and we do our product development and our production management and our logistics in Italy. So we've actually set up a setup in the Veneto, which is like the hive of manufacturing in Italy, and all the clothes are made in sustainable materials. But I mean, the challenge is to do sustainability without being frumpy or ugly or eco-look, which I particularly loathe. You buy clothes because you want to look gorgeous and glamorous and, I mean, basically happy. So that's the story of those. They're made as sustainably as we can. We've got certification on the dyeing and printing, and it's all organic cotton and silk
and it's slightly easier now, but there's still a way to go, isn't there? There's still more the industry can do, and I'm fortunate to be part of some of those conversations, but it feels that we're moving in the right direction.
We've finally got organic linen. I mean, I've been sort of hammering masters of linen in the marketing wing of the linen industry for organic cotton for years. I mean, 20 years later, we finally got organic linen, which is amazing. But there's still huge problems with wool, with leather, and then the nightmare of the microplastic, the microfibers. I mean, I put a ban on, we were so excited when we found recycled polyester that was actually usable and gorgeous, and then the whole thing erupted. We thought we just can't be using this anymore, but apparently there's a sort of technology now, there are bags that you can put polyester garments in that they don't shed fibres when they're being washed.
Yeah.
I mean, so it's coming along, but it's kind of wobbly and it's way behind the times. We should be so much more advanced than we are.
So where do you hope we're going to be in 10 years' time?
Well, I've got all sorts of evil plots. One of them is obviously preservation of traditional skills. I think in every economic, they say you've got to feed yourself, clothe yourself, shelter yourself, educate your children, have health care. But we have to clothe ourselves.
Yeah.
And and we need jobs. We actually, the clothing industry is gigantic. Somebody said it employs
890,000 people in the UK. So
really, well, I've heard
British economy, significant.
I've heard it's like 1 billion people worldwide, which makes 1 in 6 of the world population. I'm pushing for legislation which only allows goods into our economic blocks which are manufactured outside the same standards as inside, which means labour, health and safety, pollution, all of those, so that this obviously costs a lot more if you're paying people rather than using slave labour. So it actually levels the playing field slightly between outsourced goods and goods that are made within the economic bloc. And I gave a talk at the Fair Trade Foundation in Amsterdam, where the trade union people there local, and there was cheering and screaming when I came up with this one. And it's something that I'm going to work on, hopefully, with Fashion Roundtable, because they've got meeting kind of governmental, they've kind of got an APPG now in the government, and I'm going to be pushing this with or without Brexit, that we should be going for that, because it would be a stimulus to our domestic industry and also sort out pollution worldwide. So, this is what, I think I've expressed it rather badly, but I suspect you get the gist of it. But I think that's what we've got to go for, because it actually helps everybody and cleans the planet.
Okay, 2 more questions. Is that we normally have some budding fashion designers that come to London Fashion Week Festival. What would your advice to them be?
What fashion designers that come to?
Is there any young fashion designer?
Sorry, I don't understand the question.
What would your advice, as someone that's been in the industry since started your label end of the 60s, is someone that was starting out now, what advice would you give them?
Always be your own boss, because then you can do t-shirt slogans like jail Tony and things, and nobody can tell you not to. You can also take all the school holidays off and the half terms. You just say to your staff, read my lips, this is the way that it's happening, like it or leave. So always be your own boss. Be very careful of wholesale right now, because the retailers are in dodgy straits. Sell stuff off your Instagram and your Facebook, and it's really easy to get a PayPal account, and all the money's yours. The margin is in the retail. Remember that. Be independent. You get a better life. You can do what you like, and you have more fun.
Last one, you've got a stand, yeah, woo! Last one, you've got a stand here at London Fashion Week Festival, is that if you were going to buy one item from the collection you've got down there, which one would you buy?
I'll buy the one that's sitting over there, that jacket. The one that Alexa Chung was wearing the other day.
Got to model it.
Got a model.
Nice!
It's silk inside and out. It's recycled polyester padding. It's unisex, so his wife can nick it. And maybe someone gets a bit bigger. Yeah, but large
yes,
is
we
cool.
like that. Exactly, oversized, it works for all of
Yeah,
us.
you wear it too, yeah. Yeah, don't think he's the only one who's got that jacket. It's for the family.
Katherine, thank you so much. I've been given the time out by the team. Thank you.